Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Welcome aboard to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, January 11th, and of course we've got some special guests here with us tonight. Before we get started with everything, if you want to jump on and talk with us, we have the chat on our Horns and Hooves Entertainment page, and we also have our phone line at 929-205-6099. First half of the show is going to be dedicated to the people we have up here on the top right or left of your screen. So, of course, Bob, nice to see you back as always, and then I want to give a nice welcome to Alicia and Sophia LaBorde. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. Yeah. So how are you guys been lately?
Good.
I'm glad. You ready for the playoffs?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're ready.
Yep.
Hashtag squish the fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tua is out for Sunday, so
I feel so bad for them.
yeah, I don't know how long that guy's career is going to last. I mean,
You know what I saw too? Not just Tua, but like 7 other starters didn't even practice at all. So they're getting what was called Buffalo Bills injury bug psychology.
Yep. And we have a reason to celebrate today. So it's like, first and foremost, Damar Hamlin out of the hospital. He's recovering at home. Thank goodness. That was something we hope we never see again from what we saw 9 days ago. But kudos to everyone in Buffalo General and UC Medical. Even I have relatives that have been at Buffalo General before, similar stuff. They do a great job over there. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit in the second half hour. Micah Hyde and of course, Jamison Crowder, they are both active. They are in the 21-day window. And then, of course, the good news, you're doing a lot better. So we have a lot of things to celebrate today, but we'll jump right into it and let's have some fun with this. So I know you've been going through a lot over the past year or a little bit or so. And how did when everything first came up, how did everything kind of come up in that situation? I know a lot of times there can be a lot of different things that do happen.
So for a few months I was having issues with eating and my stomach hurt a lot, and I was staying home from school because I couldn't really do anything while it hurt that bad. And it got to the point where we told my doctors about it and we had to get an ultrasound, and they saw something on my liver. So I got an MRI that same day, and they called us back to come in, and they told us that they had found 3 tumors, some in both of my lungs and on my liver.
Wow, that is tough. But as a follow-up though question on Sophie is, through the process, because I know it's been tough for you lately, and I've heard you've been doing well lately as well, and you're recovering, and I'm sending out my thoughts and prayers and everything to you guys as well. But my question to you though is, what would you say, in your honest opinion, were some of the toughest moments throughout your treatment?
Probably the throwing up everything that I drink or eat, and not having a very good appetite, and I was never thirsty for anything, so I lost a lot of weight and I didn't feel up to doing anything, and I couldn't breathe through anything I did, so I wasn't very active for a while.
I mean, like I said before, at least you're doing better, that's for certain, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for those I know locally here in the Buffalo area, I know that there was a quick story on one of the local news channels recently too that was showing that you're doing better. So, and honestly, that was like one of the things that really made my day when I heard about that, because I know I've been talking with you all for about the last, I think it's like almost 3 weeks now or something like that when we first met. So it was one of those, just to hear that and just knowing some of the backstory. I mean, it really was something that made my day when when we did hear about that, and actually I found out from you first, Mom. So I did find out, which was cool. So there is a lot of good that did come out of this, and a lot of it, of course, there are people in the community that have come together to show their support, which that's one of the things when we have the show come up. If anyone does want to go ahead and contribute to the GoFundMe, we do have that up and running as well, and we'll actually have the QR code on the screen, and every little bit helps. I mean, these are Buffalo people just like we are. What are some of the really good things that you've experienced with this? Because I know you've had the chance to touch base with a lot of the Bills and the Sabres as of late.
Yeah, so I was able to go to a bunch of different Bills games and Sabres games. I went to the first preseason game of the Sabres, and I had never gone to a hockey game before that. I wasn't really into it, but I got into it really fast, and it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at the games, and I met Josh Allen in the hospital, and he gave me a bunch of like small gifts and stuff, and he also got me on-field passes for his preseason game that we had already gotten tickets to, so I got to go down there for one of those games as well.
Awesome.
Which game was it though, Soph? Do you remember?
I think it was the very first preseason game because he hadn't started playing yet when he came to visit the hospital.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Was it like this year or was it like the year before?
Yeah, it was
This year.
Here. Okay. And I was saying, I have to imagine meeting Josh Allen in person, really cool guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I mean, in all retrospective, girls, I actually live on Long Island, so I have no communication with anybody within the Western New York area. I have buddies like Tommy who live up in Buffalo, so I get all the inside scoop from there as well. So anything they say, I'm like, I wish I was there. So I'm kind of like over there. I'm kind of that kid in the corner that nobody likes to bring into the party, and you're too nice to tell them to go away, so you just have them go over the corner and play video games.
Right. Now, I will say this, though. If you ever get the chance to meet Greg Russo, he's a really cool guy, too. And actually, I got to see him. I think it was back in either August or September. I actually got to meet him up here in, actually, it was out in Amherst I met him. So it was pretty cool, too. Hilarious guy.
Yeah, I actually got a chance about 10 years ago to meet all the Bills from like the Super Bowl era, like Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, Jim Kelly, Darryl Talley, and all those guys, because there was a Super Bowl event that took place here about 10 years ago at a place called Roosevelt Field Mall in Uniondale, which is in Long Island, and they all came down because it was during Super Bowl 48 when the Seahawks played the Broncos, and they all came down, and it wasn't just them either. It was like Rod Woodson when he played for the Steelers. I'm trying to remember who else was there. There was a bunch of the other players, too, that played for the Jets. I think Joe Klenko was one of the people there, too. So it was a really interesting experience. It was a little pricey at the time, and I still have in my corner behind my desktop here, I actually have a authentic Rydell 90s red helmet from that era. And my biggest regret with that was I never got it signed because I was addicted to getting pictures, like 8x10, and I'm just like, shit, I can't remember that I actually was thinking about doing this or that. Right. I didn't feel like spending like $15 extra for like 6 guys. You know what I mean? I still, to this day, I regret that it's like I can't take that back, and I feel like a jerk about it. But because Thomas filled me in a lot of like your treatment, and he's filled me in with a lot of what's been going on the last few weeks, one of the things he mentioned to me, and you could clarify if I'm wrong about this, is recently he told me that you were supposed to get, maybe if you got it or not, you had a big surgery taking place in Boston. So my question is, how are you feeling since that trip?
I feel like myself again. I feel a lot better. It's actually like I'm mostly healed now. Like there's not really pain from the surgery anymore, and I'm more active. I feel like I can breathe better as well. And I can eat a lot more because there's nothing pushing up against my stomach anymore. So it's like it feels really good to be able to eat and drink way more than I was back then. So I'm feeling a lot better now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Her tumors were on her liver, and they were so large that it was pushing everything up against her stomach. So she had a lot of stomach issues throughout this whole process. And they took over half of her liver, and they took out all the lymph nodes that also had cancer in them. And having that, even just having that off of her stomach has made such a huge difference for her. And she feels so much better. She's almost, I mean, I say she's kind of almost back to being my baby before all this happened. She's all spunky and wild again.
Right. Yeah, and one of the things that I was going to kind of mention too, I know that was a rough road, but what you've been dealing with is actually very rare for a childhood cancer. It's so fill us in a little bit about that, and just I mean, I know it's not very common for what she's dealing with.
Yeah, so her type of cancer is called fibrolamellar hepatocellular carcinoma, which is a very rare form of liver cancer that's in children and young adults. There's literally only 1 in 4 million people that will have this type of cancer. So at any given time, that means there's roughly 60 to 70 people with this type of cancer in the United States at any given time, which, you know, isn't a lot compared to how many people are in the United States.
Yeah.
The equivalent of this for an adult is just hepatocellular carcinoma, which is usually caused by cirrhosis of the liver or having hepatitis. For this form that she has that's in children, there's really no cause. They're not sure why it happens in a healthy liver. And hers, unfortunately, had spread to her lungs and to her lymph nodes. And she still has several nodules in each lung that we're working on. But everything in her abdomen, all of the stuff in her liver and lymph nodes were taken out in Boston. And so we're finally heading in the right direction. And even though there wasn't a treatment plan when she was diagnosed, we've come a long way. And you know, the doctors have done an amazing job up to this point. So.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
that's like an add-on question though, because I know you said that she's like almost to the point of normalcy for how she can like relate in life and all that stuff, like normal children, everyday things. But is there, like, since the surgery, then when she went to Boston, was there anything like she was limited to, like eating or any activity that she was limited to?
So from the very beginning, because she has a lot of nodules in her lungs, they literally can't even count them on the, you know, on her scans. So she wasn't allowed to do any physical activity. She was taken out of gym class when she was going to school. She couldn't do stairs, stuff like that. Food, they actually, her diet was eat everything and anything, high calorie, high fat intake, because she's lost so much weight that they want her to just constantly try to bulk up. So it really wasn't limited on what she could eat. She was supposed to eat literally anything. So, but those were really the only things. She didn't go to school for a while. She's actually going to start trying to go back here shortly. But she just would get too worn out. Everything just kicked her butt. So
sure, totally understand. And our one of our co-hosts, Adam, is here with us as well. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks.
What's going on, guy?
Thanks for coming on the show. God bless you. You're a fighter. You're a warrior. God bless you.
Thank you.
Hey, so we got some fun stuff we want to ask you.
Yeah, don't mind me though, because I'm just a friendly Canadian.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So we got some quick stuff, and then of course you're welcome to hang out with us as well. But if you had to choose one, Bills or Sabres?
Probably the Bills, slightly over Sabres, I think, because I've grown up watching the Bills, so I feel more connected to them, kind of.
Cool.
Yeah,
And it
you
is.
suck.
It's funny. He's actually a Maple Leafs fan. So, we go back and forth with him every now and then. So.
Especially on the football side of things, because he is somehow a Carolina Panthers fan.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is.
Yep. All right. Then the next thing we're gonna throw in there. All right. So we know two of your favorites are Josh Allen and Dawson Knox. Who would you choose over whoever?
Dawson Knox.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Why is that?
Because I've kind of I had a crush on him.
Okay.
See, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I was going to call it.
So
He's met him twice, and he is the sweetest person, I mean, that we've ever met. He's just
Awesome.
phenomenal. And he does so much for the pediatric cancer kids in Buffalo. He's incredible. So ever since she met him the first time, she's had a, little thing for him. So
Aw.
He is. You know what? He is a good-looking guy.
yeah.
he is.
Yeah. All right, so then the next thing we wanted to ask you, so we know you like the Sabres as well, so your two favorites, Tage Thompson or Rasmus Dahlin, who would you choose?
Probably Rasmus Dahlin, just because I walked with him on the Hockey Fights Cancer Day. I walked with him that night on the purple carpet, and he was really nice. And I've only met Tage like twice, and we didn't really have time to communicate that much. So I feel closer to Rasmus Dahlin, so I'd pick him.
Cool. And I think I saw some of those pictures on your mom's page and yours as well when with the Hockey Fights Cancer Night too, which was really cool that you guys got to do that. And plus, actually, the last game you went to last weekend, you actually got to see a good win before we hit that losing streak. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal game. Not so much sense, but we're happy we went to that one.
right.
Yeah, I got one question. Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, Mitch Marner or Rasmus Sandin?
No idea who the first guy is.
Oh, damn. Sorry, Adam. You're out of luck.
I heard Mitch Marner. He's Magic Mitch from the Maple Leafs.
I don't know.
We're Sabres only in this family.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
This is what we mean by he's the only Toronto Maple Leaf degenerate in our family.
It's actually funny though. We've actually him and Bobby and myself, we've been doing this. I think like what is it, almost 8 years now or something together. So
Combined, yeah. But
somewhere around there.
We've been doing BAD now for about 2.5 years, but we've been together for about 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's sad. It's really sad.
all right. Two other fun things for you. What is, if you had to choose a place that you wanted to visit, what is your favorite?
Definitely Boston. I it's like my second home now because of how many times I've been there now, and it's just a really pretty city, and all the people are really nice. So I love going there.
Cool. As I say, Bobby was just in Boston for the Patriots game earlier this season, and
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's funny. My wife and I went to Boston about a month ago because my sister-in-law, her name is Kimberly, by the way. She lives outside of Boston. I think it's in Stoughton, I believe it's called. Mm-hmm. She has a small complex of building, which is right outside of Boston. So my wife ended up surprising me with, as kind of like a little anniversary gift because he got married about 7 months ago in July. So it was like a surprise. She says, "Here, I got you a surprise." And I'm like, "Make sure you take off on this day, this day, this day, and this day." And I said, "Why? What's going on?" And she's like, "Just do it, and I'll tell you later." And I'm like getting really amped. I'm like, "Just tell me. I'm not going to know." And so next thing you know, she says to me, she's like, "I'm going to send you something." Click. And next thing you know, look down on your phone. And what were they? 2 pairs of New England Patriots tickets against the Buffalo Bills on that Thursday night primetime game earlier this year. And
Awesome.
and you know what? I will say, so if you go back to Boston, it's worth it. There's a lot of American history down there. If you like American history, it's worth it. We got to see Paul Revere's house. We went to the USS Constitution, which is like one of the oldest battleships in the United States. You go to TD Garden for the Bruins or the Celtics, whatever. I went to a Bruins game, and that was fun on its own. What else did I do?
We went to a Celtics game, and then she actually even got to meet some of the Celtics players at Boston Children's Hospital before we came home.
Yeah.
That's
So
Awesome.
we've adopted the Boston Celtics since there's not an NBA team in Buffalo. So
Right. Yeah, and actually, and it's funny that you mentioned second cities too. Actually, Bobby and Adam know this, but actually Pittsburgh's my second hometown, and it's funny because I actually had an apartment there for a short time, and it was for work, and unfortunately, that job, basically what happened is I accepted the job, I moved down there, paid all this money on an apartment. Turned out that my job was outsourced 3 days before I was set to start, so I ended up SOL. But Pittsburgh's always been. But the nice thing is with what I do now, I can work from anywhere. so who knows? I might end up back there at some point, or wherever else. It's nice, but it's kind of like that same thing. Just so much to do and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we also wanted to do as part of you being on today is we knew that we wanted to spread some awareness to some childhood cancers in general. And what are some of your overall thoughts, and what can people do to help with bringing awareness and helping a lot of those causes?
So, I mean, you always hear about childhood cancer, but people don't really talk about it nearly enough, considering how many kids get it. And once once you're dealing with it head on, you really start to realize how little is being done to help these kids out. Out of all of the federal funding for cancer research, only 4% goes to childhood cancer, which is sad, because even just like with my daughter, she did nothing to get this cancer. It wasn't that she smoked for years or drank. Not that I'm saying that anybody should have cancer,
sure,
but a child has their whole life ahead of them, and we're only giving 4% to try to fix this. And it's sad, and especially when you are, in it with your own family, it stinks that they told us straight up that had we came in 10 years ago, she would have been misdiagnosed because they had no idea what type of cancer this was until just within the last decade.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's sad. That's sad that, how many kids went through this and nobody had any idea what it was. So we have done we've tried to donate a lot to that research and bring awareness to that.
Sure.
Sophia actually, her and some of her friends have decided to start this little fundraising company where they make bracelets and they sell them for different things. And one of the things that they want to fundraise for is for childhood cancer awareness. And so, that's something that's really dear to our hearts now, seeing it from, this point of view of how little is being done. So.
Well, you should pass it along to Bobby and tell him what it is. And I can pass it along up in the north to Canada. You know what I mean?
I can do that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And, we're happy to promote it here too. I mean, it's one of the things we want to help.
And then if you look at it, like, kids are innocent. Kids don't deserve that. Nobody deserves it, but kids definitely don't. That is a lot rougher that way, and plus, in Canada, we have free healthcare. We have this, we have that, but there's still not enough being done.
No.
Right.
Yeah. And you go up there, we go to Roswell or we go to Oshai, and it's filled. Every time we go there, it's filled with kids. I mean, there's never a day when it's not filled up with other kids that are fighting. So it's so much more common than people realize. And even what I realized before she had it, and it's just sad to see. I mean, we see babies in there that have no idea what's going on. And, she's thankfully old enough to know what's happening and to understand it. But still, I mean, she's completely innocent. She did nothing to deserve any of this. And
exactly.
And it's sad that there's not more being done to help these kids out.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead, Tom. Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, because I was going to say I believe there's a company. I might be able to get him to reach out to you. I'll talk to him when I can. And my dad has worked with him for a few years now. And I don't know if you've heard of them. Maybe you can correct me. But there's a company down in Long Island. It's Suffolk County. They're called John's Crazy Socks. Have you ever heard of those guys?
I have not. Have you?
Okay, so here's an interesting story about these guys. And my father actually got to speak with them a few years ago, and it was very interesting. So John's Crazy Socks is owned by John, and he's like a mid-20, 30-year-old guy with his father, and he has Down syndrome. So what they do is they raise awareness for Down syndrome and other type of, disabilities and cancer awareness by making organic themed socks. And all the employees that are hired there are people with different disabilities, with like epilepsy, autism, Down syndrome, childhood cancer, like anything like that, like San Filippo, anything like that. So what they do is they raise money to raise awareness for all these factors, and they send them out to different like companies or whatever it is they do. And they're multi-billionaires, so they can go out and make all kinds of crazy socks, and they can make specific themes. So if you said to them, hey, can you guys make like custom themed socks for Sophia's, cancer awareness, I think they'd be more than happy to do it for you guys.
That would be amazing. And that's such a cool business that, and we need more of that. So that's a phenomenal, that would be a phenomenal thing to be able to talk to them for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I've spoken to them a few handful of times myself, because they can easily relate, because to be honest with you, I'm on the autism spectrum, and I don't tell that to a lot of people because it's not necessary unless I have to tell them. But in this case, I may as well throw it out there. But no, they're great overall people. So there's a Facebook page if you want to follow them. It's called John's Crazy Socks. They're out on East Long Island, and they've been on TLC. They've been on the news, like local news, like CNN, Fox News, etc. They've been everywhere. And awesome. Again, they're multimillionaires, and they make all kinds of custom themed socks and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, we will definitely look into them. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
No problem. And, we're certainly happy to help you guys as much as we can. And of course, we're going to get some stuff from all of us here. So we're happy to send that out to you and, get a couple things going. And then what we'll want to do is, before we wrap up the first half hour, which is kind of funny how fast it flew because it doesn't even seem like it. But were there any things that you wanted to mention before we wrap up the half hour here?
I think I would just like to say how thankful we are for the Buffalo community in general. I mean, we've had so many amazing opportunities, this included, to raise awareness, to reach out to people. Soph is thankfully a very open person. She's very willing to talk about this and to, shine a light on all of it. And so, we've been able to be on the news, and we've been able to, go to different events and talk to different people. And it's just such an amazing thing. You don't realize until you're in this crappy situation how many people, truly care and how kind people are. And it's really brought back my faith in humanity as a whole. Mm-hmm. People in general are very kind and very good. And especially around this area, people are amazing. And we are so very thankful for all of you and for the community and just everything that people have done to support us. We're very thankful for that.
And I can say on behalf of all of us, I mean, we're happy to do what we can for you all. And I will say, the last 3 weeks or so, getting to know the both of you, it's really been nice, because it's one of those where, I've definitely learned some things from you that I wouldn't have known otherwise, and just knowing just the whole story of what happened, and I would never wish that on anybody, but to happen for a kid to be going through that, and the fact that you're pulling through it, and you've fought really good so far, and you're almost on that other end now completely. It's really good to see, and I'm really glad that things are going in a much better direction for you. So of course, what we're gonna do is, before we wrap up, just to kind of fill in other people on what we're sending you, we're gonna send you a nice little care package of Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres. So we're happy to do that. I'll let you know when we have that ready for you, and you'll probably get a couple different things, but we're more than happy to do it for you. We want you to, you shouldn't have to be going through cancer. We want you to have fun. So we're going to do that, and then I know we'll talk over the coming weeks and so forth, and we'll set up some other stuff for you. But we're happy to have you on. We appreciate you being on as well. And I was going to say, before we go, you're sporting Damar Hamlin here.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
and Adam, I think you would appreciate this, my guy, if you could see it through. I actually got a shirt. Let me just fix my background real quick. I apologize. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think, and I think it's only fair, because Sophia is here as well. We need to come up with a new hashtag campaign called hashtag Sophia Tough. That's what I would call it.
There we go. Hey, we can put it on our Twitter.
So. She's a badass for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, what I can tell you, you're an inspiration to us. We definitely love how you're fighting through everything. We're happy to give all the love back to you as well. And, you know, anytime you guys want to come on, you're more than welcome to. And, of course, going to do a little bit of DeMar Hamlin here. So.
Oh, yeah. Got to do the DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want you to know, we love you guys. We appreciate you coming on. You're welcome. Come on anytime. And then.
And plus Canada's going to love you too now. Canada's going to love you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Our neighbors to the north.
But and your neighbors down south in Long Island.
Yep. So what we'll do,
thanks, you guys.
You're welcome. So, of course, thanks for joining us. We appreciate that. Second half of Buffalo After Dark is going to come up in a few moments, and then we'll see you in a few.